Okay, welcome back. This is Cody C. Engdahl. This is my channel where we talk about the path of writing and publishing and marketing books. I do not consider myself an expert in really anything, but a lifetime student. And therefore, I am learning from some of the great people, including Bryan Cohen, and we are going to review one of his books. The book is called, my goodness, what is the book called? It is like self-publishing and email. Here it is: self-publishing and email marketing. And then there's a whole lot of like subtitle that goes along with it. So my review, it's good. Okay, join us next week when I talk about. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, and I'm laughing at my own jokes. As you know, that I'm an author. I'm the author of 5 novels and 2 nonfiction books. I have my own book on writing and publishing and marketing, and it's something along those lines. It's a good book. I only sell it for like $2 for the digital copy. It's just, it all started out with a series of articles that I wrote for my blog, for my, what do you call it, my blog page, my what is that, WordPress account. Then I was like, these would make a nice book, and so I took all those articles down, I re-edited them, and then I created an ebook, and you can get it as a hard copy too. It's not very long. It's probably about 50 pages, and it's just very basic of the process I use for writing and editing my books, and the process how I go about publishing and how I go about marketing. It could definitely use an update, but everything in it is still true. What I mean by update is that there are other things. There's more, but nothing in it is wrong. So, if you buy Bryan Cohen's book, which I highly recommend, because I don't get into email marketing in my book, you can buy mine too. Or you can just buy Bryan's, or buy none of them. Make sure you just buy my my novels. By the way, so email marketing is very important. We're going to get into that, and I have started my own email marketing list. So it's a list of people who want to receive emails from me when I talk about like new releases, things that are on 99-cent promos, or when I'm going to be appearing somewhere. So if you go down into the description, you will see not only a link that will get you to Bryan Cohen's book, but and a link that will get you to my author page on Amazon, where all my books are available. But there is also a link, and it's marked there, and it'll take you to a sign up page. You put in your email, and then you get added to my email list. And as I put out emails, you'll be one of the people that get them. And I promise you, I will not spam you. I'm setting tight rules. In fact, I'm not yet doing all the things that Bryan tells you should do. I'm not saying that he's wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying that I'm slowly building up to that. But right now, I feel like the only things I really want to do is I want to let people know when things are on special. And so it's kind of like a bonus. So if you want to read my books on a budget, you can sign up for that and find out. For example, coming later in May, my first book, the Rampage on the River, The Battle for Island Number 10, that is the first book of the whole series. That is going to be on a 99-cent promo in the United States, but then the following week, it'll be on special in the UK as well. I will put out emails for both of those. So if you're on my list, you will get an email saying, hey, right now, here's the link. This book is on special. Come get a copy. All right, so let's get into this. So first, let's start with I'll add this to the stage here. Okay, so this is Cohen's book, and I should tell you that make sure. Okay, so I got to the point in my writing. And I'll tell you, and Bryan will tell you this too. There's a feeling you get. I mean, first of all, writing and publishing a book is not the destination, man. It is really the beginning. I mean, you're just getting once you get your first book out there, you're just getting started. You must immediately start writing the next one and try to get that within the next year. No more than 2 years. I think the most ever between books should be 4. And if you're over 4 years, it means you probably gave up and then are coming back. But there's a lot of things that you need to do for marketing, including organic and paid social media. I think one of the first places that you should do paid marketing is probably on Amazon itself, because that's where people are actually looking for books. One of the things that I was resisting, that everybody says, all the experts says, doesn't matter who you listen, not just the author coaches and author gurus, but even the social media marketing people. If you listen to Michael Stelzner's social media marketing podcast, he talks about this a lot. Everything where you are, whether you have tens of thousands of Twitter followers or Facebook followers, or people follow your author page on Amazon, TikTok, Instagram, you name it, you're on borrowed ground. Even on Amazon, right? You're on rented space. And they say, don't build on rented space. I mean, certainly make some effort there, invest some time, build up an audience, but any of that can be taken away from you. And, TikTok has been in the news a lot. It might go away. You can get in trouble. You can get, canceled because you said the wrong thing, and you lose your Twitter account, or God forbid you lose your Amazon account and you got to sell your book in a different way. You own your email list. You own that list, and that list is a collection of people who are interested in your writing, who want to keep up with your writing. And one of the things that they say is, first of all, they have to be, because they have to sign themselves up, and don't sign people up who don't want to be on there, because that's spamming. And when you do it, they, I think by law and through the service I have, there is an opt out. So if you are signed up for my email and I send you emails and you're like, this guy's an idiot, I don't want any more of these, you can opt out. There's no problem. So I finally, I published my first book in 2019. And so it's 2024. So almost 5 years later, I realized I've been putting it up way too long. I didn't want to do it. I finally had to convince myself to do it. And so it's a very scary process. There's a lot of technical things you got to do. Like you have to get a domain name, which costs some money. It's a nominal fee, but you have to pay for that. You got to pay for an email provider, like a professional. You can't do it with like Gmail. You have to get a professional email server and an email service. So that's a lot of things that you got to do. It's daunting. It's hard to do. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty good with doing technical things and understand how things work. I struggled with this, so I looked for a book to help me, and there were a few out there. And Bryan Cohen is someone that I have had a relationship with, as I've been multiple times in his free 5-day author ad challenge, which I recommend. And I also listen to his podcast. So he is someone I already know, as we say in social media marketing. He's already somebody that I know, like, and trust. So I decided to go with his book, and I finished it today, and I'm very happy that I did. I'm going to go ahead and this is what it looks like on Amazon, by the way. And as you can see, 45 people have rated it, and it's at a 4.8, and it's only $3.99. I bought it with points, actually. There's Bryan right there, and there's some reviews. My review is under it's under review right now. Amazon wants to look at it and make sure you're not writing, breaking their community standards. but it should be live pretty soon. But it doesn't matter because what I do is I write my review on Amazon and then I copy and paste it and I put it into Goodreads and then I copy and paste it and well, I've already copied it. And then I also paste it and dress it up in my own blog, my WordPress account. And from there, I share it on all the social media. And the reason why I do that is if I share with the Amazon, you can't share as far as I know, you can't share a review. You can only share the the link to to the sales page. Goodreads, you can share your review, and I used to do that. But the thing I realized is that, excuse me, when I do that, I'm sending people to Goodreads, and which is great. And maybe while they're there, they'll follow me on Goodreads or learn that I'm an author too. But once again, it's kind of rented ground, and even though WordPress is pretty much rented ground as well, I I can do more. I have other articles on there also, though. I can not only have a link that will bring you to the person's whose book I'm reviewing, but I also put a review. I also put a link for my own and a preview to my own book because I would rather direct people to my WordPress page than to Amazon or to Goodreads. So you see what I'm saying? So the one that I post on all my social media will be WordPress because I'd rather build an audience there than build an audience for Goodreads, who I don't get a whole lot of benefit from. Okay, so let's remove that, and then we're going to I'm going to take you to my WordPress, and if you're interested in my blogging, and I really don't blog a whole lot. I use blogging for I gotta concentrate here. Here it is. I use blogging for things I want to say that are bigger than a tweet or a Facebook post. See what I'm saying? So if I'm writing kind of an article, like for example, a review of something, I'll do it there and share it to everything instead of having long posts. And I'll show you one of the reasons why I do that. Okay, so I'm going to move over here. So right now I can't see the chat. If anybody's on there and saying something to me, I would come back and I'll address it. So, all right. So here's the picture. This is a new thing I started doing. Is they want like a picture to go with your article. So that's my Kindle. You can see it's well worn. I use it a lot. That's my thumb, and so I do this because Amazon allows you to take a photo of the product that you're reviewing, and I figure, well, I like doing that because it makes it more authentic. It shows people I really did read this book. It's not long, by the way. It's only about 150 pages, so it's nice and concise. So I will read you my review. Okay, 5 stars, 5 out of 5 stars. A practical and easy to understand springboard for any author wanting to dive into email marketing. This is a hands-on manual that will teach you the fundamentals of email marketing and things you didn't know you didn't know. It'll even tell you the things you don't want to hear but need to hear. Cohen sets up the book in a very novel way. Each chapter is bookended with a conversation between him and a fictional character, Nina, who he is coaching. Nina is an amalgamation of the multitudes of authors he has taught. She's a proxy for the reader. In her resistance to his teaching, I found my own doubts and fears being addressed. The chapters are laid out logically, taking you through the reason you must have an email list, how to set one up, grow it, and how to use it for years to come as you build your writing and publishing empire. Each chapter ends with exercises that help put what you learned into action. I recommend this book for independent, commercially published authors alike. This was not necessarily the book I was looking for, but certainly the one that I needed. The book I was looking for does not exist, nor can it. I wanted something that was going to take me click by click on how to technically set up an email list. The reason that can't exist is that technology changes so fast that any book that professed to offer that would be obsolete in a week. Could probably better word that. Cohen's book certainly does help with that. He does cover where you can go to get a domain name, a professional email server, and an email service provider. Even he admits this is not all easy in chapter 5, How Do I Set Up an Email List Without Pulling Out My Hair, in which he offers some practical advice on how to get through it. I looked at a few books on email marketing for authors. I came down to this one and another one that is very popular and highly recommended. I went with Cohen's because it was published more recently, and I had already known him to be a good teacher with good intentions through his 5-day author ad profit challenge, which is free, and I also recommend. I trust him, and this book did not let me down. My email list is up and running. As I write this, please look me up and join if you like. And there's a link there in my WordPress article. It's also in the description below with this video. And by the way, if you would, give me a like and subscribe to my channel as well, please. Doesn't cost you a thing. I'm probably going to buy his Amazon ads, his book on Amazon ads next. And then there's an ad there. There's a hyperlink where you can see all my reviews on Goodreads. Then I put a link to his book, so you can go right from my WordPress article to his book, Self-Publishing and Email Marketing: How to Create and Optimize a Reader Newsletter to Find New Fans, Gather More Reviews, and Sell More Books by Bryan Cohen. And then, sneaky little devil, I also add my own. Check out my latest here. And if you click on that, let's see if it works. Oh, look, it'll be you can actually see a preview of my book without actually leaving. This is a great little look at that. And you can read like, I think, the first couple chapters of my book as a preview, and you won't even leave the website. I think that's so, and you can buy it straight from here. So that, I think, is very, very clever. So let's see here. Let's remove this. I'm going to share screen. Share screen here. And we're going to go back to Cohen's book here. Share. Okay, let me just make sure I'm still up. Yep. And there we go. And this is neat. Because I paid for it, I can read it on my Kindle. I can also read it online. So I can read the whole book here. So let's go to table of contents. Okay. Well, there's the title page here. And then here's the contents. Yeah, so this is great. So these are the things that are in it. Like, it starts off with, why should I grow an email list? Which is a great question, because I really resisted this concept. I was like, I got plenty of followers on Facebook and all that. Do I really need to do this? But Cohen really lays out the reason, and the number one reason is you don't own your Facebook account. It could be taken away from you. You're one bad post away from having your being kicked off of Facebook. And there's plenty other reasons on there too. What is an automated mail sequence? Now, that is something I haven't got into, and I'll admit I haven't done everything that he suggests. I might over time. What is a reader's magnet and a reader magnet, and why do I need one to write one? That's an interesting concept, and it's not something that I'm resisting. I'm just not doing it now. And the idea is to get people to give people a carrot for them signing up for your email list. So For example, a free short story. And I've thought about this, and I thought, what it could be, and and he gives you lots of ideas. I think if I do one, and he says, like take a character in your series and write a short story about them. I think what I would do is because there's a lot of reveals in my series that you don't know when you read first book. That book one, the mystery's kind of set up but get revealed as you go through. So I wouldn't want to there's a big reveal in book two. At the end of book two, there's a big I will just say um, an Empire Strikes Back level reveal at the end of book two. And uh and and because of that, I mean, you'll find out if you jump ahead and read book four. But if you're following the sequence, and you don't want that spoiled for you, I can't have anything I give away free to be. It has to be basically something that won't spoil it for. That will be interesting for someone who's read all my books, and not spoil it for someone who hasn't started yet. So I thought, what would be a good idea? What would work? And I thought, okay, it would have to be something that's kind of sets up Rampage on the River. Now, Mexico My Love does that, because Mexico My Love it talks about Carl, the main parents, how they meet, fall in love, run away together, and by the end of that book, the characters will be where they need to be in place for Rampage on the River to start, which I think starts about 15 years after the end of, I believe, yeah, because I think Mexico My Love ends in 1848 ish, and Rampage starts in 1861. So do the math. So there's some space in between, and the first chapter of Rampage on the River starts with a conflict that had happened before the book starts, that the character is in trouble for. And I thought, well, maybe I could write a short story about that and use that as the incentive for people to sign up for my list. So, hey, sign up for my email list, and get this free short story that is a prequel to Rampage on the River. I might do that. We'll see. The time that I would do that is the cycle of my writing is, I usually, once I write a novel and do my own editing, I send it off to the editor, and I got some downtime to do some things. I have another side project I've been kind of working on that may never get published, but that might be a good time for me to do that, to write a short story that sets up Carl and his conflict with Klaus and the romance with Anna, and have that all explained, but make it exciting and interesting, and then use that as a lead loss. For a lead loss is something you give away hoping that you'll get sales because of it, but use that as an incentive to get people to sign up. Okay, back to the contents here. Then how do I set up my email list without pulling out my hair? That's the chapter that I mentioned in my review, and I will say I wanted to cry. And I am smart, relatively. Well, I'll say this: the things I'm good at, and then a lot of other things that people are good at, I am not good at. I am typically good at technical stuff. Like, I usually understand how, when I worked at WNWO in Toledo, and we went from linear to Avid editing, I had experience with Avids, and so I was teaching people how to use Avids because I understood how I was technically inclined. I wanted to cry and pull out what was left of my hair, because I was getting advice from one guy who's a guru, who's not Bryan Cohen. but his advice was very vague, and like I said, like any kind of technical advice of how you do this is obsolete in a week because things change. And so I um I ended up buying a domain from Namecheap, but it didn't come with email service, and I didn't understand that. And so I think the first thing I did was I got a um, Mailer Lite account, and I thought that's all I needed, but no, I found out I had to get a domain name too. So I went to Mail or Namecheap to get that, and then I realized that still wasn't enough, and then I had to pay for a professional email service, and then somehow get those three things to configure together. And I mean, I almost had a nervous breakdown trying to do it. I ended up having to do like I was chatting with customer service at Namecheap and at MailerLite at the same time. And I think I actually got on the phone with one of them eventually after spending more money than I wanted to, but in the end, it's not that much. And a lot of time and a lot of tears, I got it up and running and it's working and I've been using it. So I have suffered greatly for my email list. Please join it. So even though Cohen and no one else does either. In fact, the other book I looked at, the person who wrote it said, if you're looking for a click by click how to do this, this is not the place for it. And that person was right because there's no way you could write a book, publish it, and then it would be relevant by the time anybody read it. And then how do I tell readers I have an email list? So that's a great advice. Oh, I'm sorry. And chapter 5, though, how to set it up. He still goes through where to go all these things or where he suggests, and I just follow his suggestions. And then he comes up with some good scenarios of how to cope with this and how to deal with it because it's not easy. And some strategies to go with figuring out and getting help. And I think that is very helpful. The next chapter, how do I tell readers I have an email list? That's a good one. All sorts of advice, but whether you're putting it in the signature of your emails, putting it on your social media, all those things is great. Then how often should I email my readers and what do I tell them? That's good. How do I grow my email list without breaking the bank? That's basically how to grow it organically first before you start paying for ads somewhere. How do I grow my email list even bigger with Facebook ads? I will say that here's the one thing where, and this is not Cohen's fault, but he's probably going to want to do an update on that. It's still a good chapter, but he talks a little bit about Facebook ads, which I run, and Facebook ads have changed since he put out this book. So he is going to tell you about how to put parameters to find your market. Like, and I used to do that too. Like, for example, I say how to target people. So I would target people who are interested in historical fiction and people who like Bernard Cornwell, for example, and people interested in the American Civil War. And then doing that, that would tell Facebook, show it to these people. Now that's a detriment. Now you shouldn't do that at all. In fact, you should put no parameters at all because Facebook is now using AI to find people who are most likely to click on your ad. So don't let it figure it out because it will ultimately do a better job than you could ever hope to do. So that chapter, there's good information in there, but there's some information that's old that needs to be updated. Let's see. What do I say to readers who email me? That's really good because I was like, what if everybody starts emailing me? So a lot of, especially if you get a lot of people who want to engage, he's got some great advice about how to handle that. And then how do I engage and re-engage my list? That's how to keep it fresh, especially if your list starts going stale. And then the final chapter is what does my future look like with email marketing? Great book. I'm already decided He's got. Let's see if I can get out of this. How do I get out of this? Oh, okay. So, can I just like maybe I can back out of this? All right, here we go. Let me make sure I'm still on camera. Yes, I am. So he has enough. He's got a lot of books. Bryan is a very interesting person, and he's someone who I like this about Bryan. Um, Bryan's very self honest. I think he's brilliant, and I will tell you this right now. Um, Marketing is one skill. Writing novels is another. Some people that Venn diagram overlaps and does well. You'll notice in the author help realm, there are a lot of authors, or there are a lot of people who uh, they start off as authors and they turn into author coaches. And don't let that throw you off, because just because they may not have done great on their own with their writing, as far as like writing novels, it doesn't mean they're not experts in the marketing. And I think that Bryan Cohen, I'm sure his books are fine, but I think Bryan realized that his strength was more with coaching other authors and doing the marketing than his own books. So he's got a few novels out. I think they're like young adult superhero books. I'm sure they're fine, but he even says they're not doing that great. He does he does better with his marketing books and his classes. And I'll tell you right now, I've taken the free version of his course, which is 5 days, and it doubled my monthly royalties by doing what he said. Now, that course, that free course, came recommended to me by Amazon themselves. I was on Amazon's site looking for information, looking for some how to, because I wanted to learn how to use their ads better. And they on their site recommended Bryan Cohen. If you do the ad challenge, the next one's in July. If you want to get on board with that, just follow me, or you can send me a personal message and I'll show you how. But if you follow me, I'll probably, because I promote it as much, because I've learned so much from him, so I feel like I owe it to him. And just so you know, I get nothing from him other than what I've learned. I was even up for a job, and I went through like 3 levels of interviewing, including the last interview was with him, and I didn't get the job. I got rejected. I mean, they weren't like, screw you. I was part of a small, tiny pool of candidates that they had boiled it down, and ultimately I didn't make the cut. That's fine. I still love him and love the work that he does. And I'm still going to be following him, and I'm at least going to read his book. So the next book I think I'm going to read is this one right here. Let me make sure this is not sponsored, because if it's sponsored, he's got to pay for it. This is his. This is self publishing with Amazon ads. Now I don't know if he wants this. He has said this out loud himself, so I think it's safe. But I know it's something he doesn't want to push. When you take his free course, what he really wants you to do is sign up for his year-long course that is paid. And with that, not only do you get all the secrets, that the things that you should be doing after those 5 days, that course, but also there's a ton of support. There's coaches that you can talk to. There are multiple weekly group meetings where you can discuss and go over your problems and get advice. And I think it's great. I can't really justify the cost right now or the time. I think if I got to a point in my life where I had more free time to dedicate to just writing and just marketing, maybe I would make the investment and do the full course. But in lieu of that, I think this book here, Amazon Ads, is basically what you would learn in that course, minus all the direct coaching and help from the staff and the other students that you work together with, and all that kind of stuff. This is in book form. So I think I'm going to read this next in lieu of taking the course, because I've been taking the 5-day challenge for the last 2 years. Every time it comes up every 90 days. And I'm going to continue to do that because things change. and that's reflected in the course. So they're always staying on top of that. But I do feel like, all right, I think I got it down what you do during that challenge. I need to learn the next phase. So I will be doing this book. And once I finish doing this book here, I will do the same thing I'm doing right now. I'll do a review. I'll put it on Amazon, Goodreads, on WordPress. I'll share it out to all my social media, and then I'll do another one of these videos. And I want to also my friends. Let's see if it comes up here. My friends, Matthew Harvey and okay, I think it was on the other page. Okay, there it is. Matthew Harvey and Stephen Mackay, and you have to say it that way because he's Scottish, and I guess that's how you say it. They are both historical fiction authors like me. They write stuff very similar to me. They write mostly like early medieval, like Viking, Anglo-Saxon age of the UK, and they're good. I've read their books, and they have a podcast called Rock Paper Swords, and it comes out I think every 2 weeks. It's great. Listen to that podcast. What I really like about it is they have a lot of authors on there that are historical fiction authors like me. And they also talk a lot of inside baseball. I think if you're not an author, you'll still enjoy it because they talk a lot about like, I mean, you'll get to. I mean, Bernard Cornwell's been on there. I think Simon Scarrow's been on there. Ben Kane. They get a lot of really big names there. So I think, so as a fan, you'll enjoy it. If you're a writer, there's a lot of they'll talk about a lot of shop in there as well that I find very interesting. Well, they put out a book, and maybe after I probably will. Maybe after I read Cohen's book on Amazon ads, I'll read this book too. Tips for writing, publishing, and publishing your novel. By the way, I have my own version of this, and it's almost the same title. I think mine says "How to Write, Publish, and Market Your Novel." But this is a lot of insight from guys that have walked the walk and talked the talk. And let's see. Well, let's just see if since we're plugging books on this, I also have a book on it. Let's see if it comes up here. And here's mine. Mine's only $1.99 in the US. I don't know what it is in the UK. $3.99 for the ebook, and I'm sorry, for the paperback. It's let's see, I got 4.27 ratings. It's not bad. I give it away for free for every 90 days. It's probably not as extensive as their book, but while we're considering that, what else is new? Let's see. Let's get back on camera here. As far as novel, well, Matthew Harvey. So Matthew Harvey. Well, let's get back here. Well, okay. This is fun. I'm getting used to this. I have a YouTuber that I like to watch a lot, and he does a lot of live. And let's see. I was spelling his name wrong. I was doing 2 R's and 1 F, but it's actually. Let's see here. Here we go. Harvey's got a new book coming out, and it's coming out. Let me share that. Add to stage. Okay, it's coming out July the 4th, and I'm really interested in this. I like fish out of water stories. I like stories. I mean, my last book is exactly that. Carl, who's an American who fought in the American Civil War, ends up in the Prussian army. I think it's fun. I think it's a concept that Bernard Cornwell plays with a lot. The Sharp series is about a lowborn soldier who becomes an officer, and the other officers don't accept him. The soldiers beneath him don't really respect him. If you read the Uhtred series, it's about a guy who is Saxon, but he's captured. Or no, he's an Anglo. He's an Anglo. Yeah, because Saxons to the south, Anglos to the north. Who's captured by Danes as a child and raised as a Viking, and then eventually returns to England and identifies more with the Danes and the Vikings, but ends up on the side of the Anglo-Saxons and is out of place. And so I like this theme a lot. So Harfy, and it's really interesting because the theme of the book is almost like a meta thing, because Matthew Harfy is a boy who grew up in England reading Louis L'Amour westerns and loving westerns. He says that his favorite novel is, I think, Lonesome Dove, and loves the western genre. I be honest with you, I don't. It's okay. I'm not a big fan of westerns. I whether in film or book form. I've only read one Western. Well, I'm reading this now. But the only other Western I've ever read was Louis L'Amour. And only reason I read it was for academic reasons. I wanted to read what a Western, a quintessential Western, what it felt like, to get a feel for it. As far as films, I don't mind Westerns. I'm not particularly into them. I think, though, two of my favorite movies are Westerns, and that is High Noon with Gary Cooper and The Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood. I think those movies are phenomenal. So Matthew Harfy writes Anglo-Saxon Viking era medieval novels. I think he's also got a short story out there that's about 40K. I want to read that because I like seeing people do something outside of what they normally do. So Harfy not only decided to write his own Western, but he got his publisher to go along with it. And this is it, Dark Frontier. What I like about it is he's using the same tactic as I used when I wrote the Prussian Prince, and what I'm also using for the French Fiasco. I don't know what it's like to be German, and I certainly don't know what it's like to be in the Prussian army. I do know what it's like to be an American, and I also know what it's like to be an American living in Europe. I've lived here a couple times. So I'm able to tell that story through my character, who is also alien to this world and experiencing it through the eyes of an American. See what I'm saying? And I think it really works. And I write in there that he goes through a lot of confusion with language and customs and understanding things. And I think it creates a lot of great tension and storytelling opportunities, and I really enjoyed it. So Harfy's character is Gabriel Stokes, and we're going to do the full review when I finish, which is probably next week. I'll probably have it finished. Gabriel Stokes is an Englishman who fought as a lieutenant in the he's a fictional character, but he was a lieutenant in the Anglo-Afghan wars. The cliche, I've seen some things, man. The meme, not what Harfy's writing. He comes back from the war, works as a detective in London. Once again, I've seen some things where he's pretty emotionally scarred. He ends up getting an invitation to go visit his old comrade from the war out in Idaho or Oregon in the far west of the United States in the 1890s, towards the end of the cowboy era. And let's just say when he gets there, you can't escape the darkness, and the darkness. There's plenty of darkness there. And there might be some darkness inside him that might, I'm 75% through the book right now. And so it's really interesting because I think in doing this, first of all, it gives Harfy a lot of license because he's not an American. And none of us, I mean, I think anybody can write anything because even though I'm an American and my family does, I'm literally named after Buffalo Bill Cody, because my parents wanted me to retain some of that Westernness. You know, my mother's half Cherokee. They came from Nebraska, which is considered like, you know, the West. Um, they wanted me to retain some of that cowboyness. And but I wasn't there either. And so I mean, Rome. Anybody, we can all write about. None of us, even someone an Italian, doesn't know what it's like to live in Rome. So I mean, in some ways, all of us have permission to write about any place, anytime we want to write. But what's interesting is that Harvey is giving us a Western through English eyes, because the main character is an Englishman who goes there and has to deal with culture shock and being different. Not only is he an alien in an alien land, or stranger in a strange land, um, but it's strange to him as well. And then the plot, the plot is very, I will say, it's a very, common trope, but I don't think that I do common tropes too. So, I mean, it's very much like the plot of an A-Team episode, but it's interesting to me because it's written by an Englishman and the main character is an Englishman. And so you're taking something very classic. This is a book. His book could have been written by Louis L'Amour. But what's interesting to me is, and it would have been even interesting if it was told, that if the character was an American and they took that whole thing out. But that's what attracted me to it. But I said to him, to Matthew at one point, I said, I'm really interested in your book and I'm planning on reading it when it comes out. And Matthew said to me, and we're friends. I consider us friends. So Matthew, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, buddy. You got no choice. We're friends because we interact on social media. And yeah, we're not best friends, but I feel like, well, first of all, Matthew's the kind of guy that you just feel like he's your friend. He has that natural friendly charisma that you feel like you've known him all your life just by talking to him a little bit. But Matthew said to me, he's like, well, hey, I can send you an advanced copy. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. So he sent me an advanced copy. So it's not out yet, but I have a copy of it. And so because of that, I take great responsibility with it that that I'm reading it and I'm going to give it a good review. I mean, obviously he's my friend. I'm going to look out for him. It's already a good, so it's going to get 5 stars, and that's no charity. It's a good book. It is absolutely a good book. Matthew is a master writer, and I'm really enjoying it. But also a good review in that I am going to write up something that is, in depth. I mean, I'm not going to go crazy, but it's not going to be like 2 lines like, great book, couldn't put it down, 5 stars, which, by the way, you can do that for me. If you're reading in my book, you can say, great book, and give me 5 stars. I love you for it. Please do. But I'm going to do the same treatment I just did for this other one. So look for that probably this week. What else is coming up for me? I have been invited. Let me take that down. I don't have any public appearances in the books right now. I just did 3 days at Masker Stations where I played. I have been invited to be on a podcast. It's a writing podcast, and I don't want to say what it is because we haven't, until we've actually shot it. I'm gonna wait to announce it because I want to make sure it actually happens, right? But it's supposed to be next week. We're gonna meet and do an interview, and I'm really looking forward to it because it's kind of a big podcast, and I was very honored to be on there because the kind of guests that have been on there, I'm a little blown away that I got invited to. So I'm very happy about that. I can't say what it is because I mean, I don't think they would mind, but I think that I need to wait for it to actually happen before I announce that I did. But I'm going to give you a little clue. They have their own theme song, and in which the host of this show wrote and performed, and it opens and closes the podcast every single time. And I was going to do this anyway a long time ago. As soon as they announced the podcast, I immediately signed up for it. I've been listening to every episode, and I've been secretly hoping that someday I would earn my way onto that show. Never wanted to ask them for it because I didn't want to put anybody in a awkward position. I just thought if I keep growing myself as an author and keep getting my name out there, maybe one day I'll be undeniable and I'll get invited on the show. But I wanted to record. I wanted to do a version of their theme song. It's an original song that they wrote on my fiddle, and but I've been waiting. And in the meantime, they've had other authors on there who are also musicians, and I'll tell you, talent isn't something that is specific. So usually if you're like a creative person, there's a large pool that you can use that for. And so a lot of writers are also actors, or they're musicians, or they paint or stuff like that. So there's, the well's deep enough, you can do several things with it. And so there was another author on, I heard at least two authors do their version. I heard one do like a really cool like acoustic version of it, and they sang harmony. I heard another one that was another rocker. So I did my version. So I'm not going to tell you the name of the show, but what I will do is I'll give you a preview. So what I did was I shot myself. I came up with a fiddle version of the theme song, and then I recorded myself and I sent it to them just in case, because when the other authors were on there were just two that have done this so far. They played their version, so in case they wanted to use it, I sent it to them. And like I said, I'm not going to show you what it is or tell you what it is, but I will at least play you my version of the theme song here. Let me make sure I am still on. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay, hide that. And all right. And I'm always self-promoting because once we do the recording, I'll probably put it out there because I want people to sign up for their podcast to be ready for when it's going to be released. So I'll probably announce that I'm going to be on and share this wide on all my social media. But here, because you've been with me for 52 minutes and 27 seconds, you're going to get a sneak peek. So this is the theme song. It's the only clue I'm going to give you. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, good. It chopped off the title because I realized when I put it up there that the name of the podcast is written but it's on the bar, but you can't see it there. So that's the clue. If everything goes as planned, actually, we were supposed to do the interview tomorrow, but one of the hosts had, I think, jury duty or something. I can't remember what it was. And so they asked me if we could do it next week, and I said that's fine. So hopefully that still happens, and once it does, I'll make an announcement and I'll let you know when it's going to come out. But I'll also try to get everybody to sign up for their podcast so that you will get it when it comes out. That's it. That's all I got. Look, we're just shy of an hour here. Let me just make sure that I don't have anything. Yeah, that's really it. I have nothing Nothing booked for a long time. I will tell you this, that I've gotten lazy because the last several years I haven't had to book anything as far as or seek out gigs as far as like as a fiddler or as a writer. But I think it's finally catching up to me. I don't have anything. I don't have anything planned this summer. Um, I'll probably, I don't know. I'd like to get up to Michigan because my trilogy is about the second Michigan. I mean, heroes and villains on both sides, but I'd like to get up to Michigan sometime and maybe do some Civil War events up there. Of course, if I have anything events coming up, I will always post stuff on my social media. So anyway, the same thing that I always say: if you have authors that you love and care about and you're reading, please give them 5-star reviews on Amazon and Goodreads and wherever else, and let people know about them. Please like and subscribe to this. Sign up for my email list if you would. And that's it. I love you guys. Keep writing if you are a writer. Keep reading if you are a reader, and keep being happy, man. It ain't so bad. And I know things are tough. Everybody's got problems, but we can smile and have some good times. I mean, I try to write historically accurate but escapist entertainment. So I hope that maybe reading one of my books helps take away some of the pain of real life, or even enjoying one of these lives. So I will talk to you guys soon. I'll probably come back um, uh, within a week or so with a review of Matthew's book. Talk to you guys soon. I love you guys.